And when you talk to them about change, their reaction is frequently the same. Oh yes, but have you thought of this? And then I go, yes, but you're trying to find problems. I'm trying to find solutions. And I keep bringing to you a solution, and you keep bringing me a new problem. And you haven't even tried.
Yes? 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 Oh, come on! Yes! Damn! Damn!
Good day, everybody. I'm Kieranlecam, and it is a beautiful sunny day today in Dublin. Obviously, this is not normal, which is why I'm outside with the camera, where normally I would be indoors. I do not have my microphone, so if it's windy, you will hear it, and I apologize for that. Today I wanted to talk about something that I think is a pretty important concept, which is the self-fulfilling prophecy. A prophecy is when you say, this is going to happen, and something does happen. And you go, aha, I prophesied this. A self-fulfilling prophecy is therefore a different concept than a simple prophecy. The idea is you make the prophecy happen by believing in the prophecy. It is by believing in the outcome that the outcome occurs. Now I want to talk about this because of a specific reason. Now I want to be as respectful as possible. In the past few years we've had the COVID pandemic. It was a pandemic involving a virus called COVID, SARS-CoV-2, that spread pretty easily, similarly to the flu, but I think it was more contagious. And because the human body was not used to this type of flu, it was more deadly. And it's been a pretty big part of our lives for the past 3 years. It's 2023 now, if you're watching this video in, later. And there is a specific person that I have in mind. Her name is Diana. She is a YouTuber, a physics YouTuber. And she was diagnosed with a thing called long COVID, which is when you get COVID and it doesn't seem to leave your body and it makes you weaker. It triggers your body to no longer be able to repair itself and to expel the virus as efficiently as if you were healthy. I've seen Diana and her condition because I decided to subscribe to her Patreon. Point was, I'm not sure that it's about the money, but it was about following her journey and being able to see what's happening and potentially, and I won't lie, being able to influence it. This is one of the reasons, in fact, I think the main reason that I joined the Patreon is that I wanted to be a force that was different than what I assumed was going to be the most likely support that this type of YouTuber was going to get. I don't want to call it judgment, but it's a lot of assumptions. So I assumed that Diana was going to be supported by a specific type of person, and that person is the same type of person that she is, and it seemed like her husband is. The assumptions I got just from a random selection of videos, and I don't actually know these people really well, so I can't really know for sure, but I'm just telling you why I joined the Patreon. I feel like in a lot of science circles that there is a tendency to, despite the merits of science, to sort of rely on science instead of relying on your own ability to understand the world and figure it out for yourself. There's this submission to the scientific endeavor, and I don't want to call it a partnership with the scientific endeavor. It's like, well, I can think for myself, but I need to be informed somehow, and so I will inform myself mostly from credible sources. But I think it's turned into a rejection, especially in America, of this ability to use your own experience, which is called in science anecdotal evidence, to inform yourself about what the real world is like. I think this is a mistake. I think that you're perfectly capable of extrapolating on your experience as long as you don't only focus on your experience, as long as you are open to everyone else's experience as well. And this is thinking for yourself. It uses the same idea as science, but it bypasses the scientific institution, which means you don't focus on studies, papers, experts, doctors to make decisions for you. You listen to those people, of course, because it's silly to not use any source of information that you can. But you can also figure things out for yourself. And on occasion in my own personal life, now this is anecdotal evidence, but it has worked for me. I have gone against what the doctors recommend, and it has been better for me. I give the example of my schizophrenia. I have schizophrenia. It's very hard to describe what exactly it is, but essentially it started with a psychotic episode and delusions. And you can feel it in your head. You can sort of feel a physical effect in your head, and it feels like certain parts of your brain are disconnected and you can't control all of who you are. That's what this form of schizophrenia feels like to me. At first I did take the medications, but the medications did not work. When I determined that they didn't work, I told my friends about it, at the time my friends in France, and I said, I don't think they're working for me. I think the solution that I need is a mental solution. I started believing the delusions first, and that's what created the schizophrenia. And so I realized there was a reason why I believed in those delusions, and those delusions were showing me that I wasn't really happy where I was in life, and I needed to move forward in life. And to do so, I needed to stop the medication and move to another country where I would not necessarily get that medication for free. But the important thing was fixing my life. And for the past 8 years, since I was 24 years old, I'm now 32, I'm going to be 33 soon, I have been trying to fix my life and succeeding at fixing my life with just thoughts, basically. I think that the science community will call this, because I think that's what it is, cognitive behavioral therapy. But it's another way of saying that when it comes to mental disease, at the very least, you can undo the mental damage you have done to yourself by mentally fixing yourself, and not by requiring an external source of physical input, which is a pill or some substance, some dopamine or whatever it is that's in the pill that you use, to prompt the brain into some mechanical reaction. That it is a complex sequence of events, such as a thought, that will rebalance your brain's chemistry. I think this is the science, I think, behind cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm unsure. All I know is that's what I did for myself, and that's what works for me. It does take a significant amount of time, though, and a lot of work, a lot of introspection, and a lot of life lessons. You have to change yourself. You have to be humbled before certain inescapable truths, accept your reality, and evolve with it. That's been my experience. Now, knowing this, when I saw Diana's situation, and I am still reading all the comments of beautiful comments of support and funny comments and people who genuinely care for her, and that's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing. I genuinely, I mean it. I sound like I don't mean it. Like, that is a wonderful thing. No, it's great. I'm just trying to be concise and analytical for this video, but I really do think it's a beautiful thing. But what those people, I think, don't realize is that when you are in a difficult situation and the doctors don't really know what to do because of how new the disease that you have is, I think that there is a mental mindset that is more helpful in the short term that most of the followers of Diana and Diana herself, and I think the people surrounding her in her real life, don't have. And I'm assuming right now that Diana is watching this video, so I want to be respectful. I don't think she will, obviously, because I have no subscribers, or barely any. But you never know, you just gotta assume that the person you're talking about is watching. And so I'm saying this with a lot of respect and a lot of understanding towards Diana's choices and the choices of the people around her. So when I say that they're the wrong choices, I'm not saying that they're somehow fundamentally stupid or bad or that their value as a human being is lessened. I'm just saying that I think that the behavior of the average... I don't want to attribute too much of a political leaning to this, but the average left-leaning person, meaning someone who will choose to focus more on emotions, will be to tend to wait until things get done for them and not do the things themselves. And so that's why I joined the Patreon, because I thought I could bring a bit more of that fighting spirit. Now, on occasion, I have been pushed back on by people who I don't think understood quite what I was trying to say. That it was by trying different things yourself and pushing against reality that you could get out of it. And I've gotten the answer that physical exertion is not a good thing for the disease that she has. And as good as a point as that may be, that's not that's not really the gist of what I was saying, but it's sort of try things yourself and keep fighting. And this message is, I don't think, present enough. It's a lot of, oh, I hope you get better. And that's not, hopes and dreams are wonderful, and you gotta have them first. But then you've gotta make something happen, in my experience. And I don't think that waiting for other people to bring the solution is the solution, especially when you're still struggling. And I've noticed this is a trend in all of our world. So this is not just about Diana's situation, although I have been talking about it for a significant portion of the video. I have tried to make people consider different paths that we could take in our world, different lifestyles we could adopt, and accept change as a part of the world. And people seem to be struggling with this idea that they have the ability to make something change. They have the power to make the world a better place. If only a little bit, if only locally. I don't know about different countries and how different people of different countries would react, but I do know that where I am now, in Europe, in France, and in England, and in Ireland, those are the three places that I have lived in and know of, that people have a tendency to sort of go with the flow, and they think that they're very smart, but then when you talk about actually making things happen, they give up easy. They don't want to try. Novelty scares them. And I think that this is the self-fulfilling prophecy in action. What you believe will happen. Because if you don't try, nothing happens. And so then an attempt could never be even made, so that you can fail and learn from your attempt and try again to succeed. And this is all from people who aren't even in what I would call a difficult situation. They have friends and family, and they are so unpreoccupied with their lives that they can afford to go binging and doing drugs on the weekend for recreation. And when you talk to them about change, their reaction is frequently the same. Oh yes, but have you thought of this? And then I go, yes, but you're trying to find problems. I'm trying to find solutions. And I keep bringing to you a solution, and you keep bringing me a new problem. And you haven't even tried. And this is a shocking thing for me. This is shocking. That I offer a solution, and you just go, yes, but you haven't thought of this thing. And I go, well, maybe I have thought of this thing, but I'm ignoring it for now because we haven't even tried. So how do we know this thing is actually going to be a problem in reality? You can maybe guess, But how do you know it's going to be that for sure? The only way is trying. So you have to try and fail, and then learn from your failure and try again. And I believe societies who engage in this kind of attempting to change their world will actually change their world, little by little. Eventually, between right wing and left wing, when people just say, oh, those leftists are just this way, oh, those right wing white supremacists are this way, you are engaging in the self-fulfilling prophecy. I think these people are like that, so I don't even attempt to get to know them, to try to understand them, to see their point of view. And this works for everything, not just politics, for understanding your neighbor, the people around you. And so with this video, I'd like to ask people to remember the self-fulfilling prophecy and to choose a prophecy you would rather have come to life. To choose the prophecy of success, of togetherness, of unity. My name is Kieranlecam, and I'll see you in the next video.
Damn!